the stillness before dawn, when the world holds its breath and the blade has yet to taste the wind, the warrior confronts his greatest enemy, not on the battlefield, but within his own mind. Overthinking is the storm that clouds the spirit, the hesitation that dulls the sword. Yet Musashi taught that when the heart becomes still as polished steel, Hagane no Ishi, the will of iron, the storm passes and clarity reigns. Every thought, every doubt is a spark from the forge. The one who learns to temper those sparks into focus transforms hesitation into mastery. This is not a lesson learned in comfort, but in fire, discipline, and unrelenting spirit. As you walk this path, remember, you are not alone. You stand among a community of modern samurai, seekers of stillness and strength. If your soul is ready to cut through confusion and awaken true focus, then walk with me. Comment focus below, subscribe, and join this brotherhood of forged minds. Together we sharpen ourselves against life's anvil. For when you master this, overthinking disappears, and only purpose remains. In the heart of every battle, there exists a fleeting moment where chaos and calm intertwine, a single breath that separates victory from defeat. This is the domain of the still blade of presence. It is not a technique, nor a strategy, but a state of being. To hold presence is to command stillness while the world rages around you, to let the blade rest, perfectly aligned with the heartbeat of the universe. Musashi understood this truth deeply. He did not fight against the storm of thoughts. He stood unmoved within it. Presence is the samurai's invisible armor, the silence between breaths, the clarity before movement. The mind, unanchored, drifts into overthinking, but when forged through discipline, it sharpens into awareness. The warrior who cultivates presence does not seek to control the moment. He becomes the moment. Every strike, every decision flows effortlessly, free from hesitation. This is not the absence of thought. It is thought refined into action. To live with the still blade of presence is to train the spirit as one tempers steel. Slowly, repeatedly, with intention. The fire that burns away distraction must be endured, for only through discomfort can stillness emerge. Presence is not granted. It is forged through daily battles with the self. When you rise before dawn, when fatigue tempts surrender, when uncertainty whispers doubt, that is the forge at work. Musashi's mastery was not born of talent but of unbroken attention. Every motion, from drawing his sword to taking a step, was infused with complete awareness. In this state, there is no gap between the warrior and his weapon, between the thought and the act. Overthinking dissolves because the mind ceases to wander. It lives entirely in the now. Presence cuts through confusion as surely as a sharp blade slices through silk. In the modern world, presence has become a lost art. Our minds scatter between past regrets and future fears, leaving the present moment undefended. Yet the lesson of the still blade remains unchanged. Mastery lies not in control, but in surrender to what is. The warrior does not wrestle with his thoughts. He observes them until they lose their power. This practice, though ancient, is not bound to the battlefield. It belongs in every decision, every challenge, every quiet hour of reflection. When your mind learns to rest in awareness, every action becomes deliberate. Every word carries weight. The stillness within you begins to radiate outward, calming storms both internal and external. It is here that fear loses its grip, and overthinking fades into silence. The blade does not tremble, because the hand that holds it trusts itself completely. To embody the still blade of presence is to become the calm eye within life's tempests. It demands that you release the illusion of control and embrace the purity of this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. Presence is a discipline, a ritual of returning to now again and again. It is the ultimate training of the spirit, to act without hesitation, to speak without fear, to move without resistance. The samurai who mastered presence became unshakable, because nothing could pull his mind from its center. In this way, overthinking ceases not through force, but through understanding. The warrior does not chase thoughts. He allows them to pass like clouds across an unchanging sky. His focus remains unwavering, his blade still and ready. And in that stillness lies the truth Musashi sought, that the mind, once disciplined, becomes both sword and peace, sharp enough to cut through illusion and still enough to reflect the infinite. Within every warrior burns a fire, a force that drives action, sharpens instinct, and fuels endurance. Yet unrestrained fire consumes everything, including the one who wields it. The fire of controlled focus is the art of mastering this inner blaze, channeling it into precision rather than chaos. Musashi understood that power without control is destruction, but power guided by discipline becomes destiny. Motion, like fire, must be fed deliberately and guarded fiercely. The samurai did not let his mind scatter across possibilities. He fixed his gaze upon one point, one purpose, and poured his spirit entirely into it. Overthinking fades when energy has direction, when the mind no longer chases 1,000 flames, but tends a single steady one. In that heat, distractions burn away, and what remains is clarity, as sharp as a freshly honed edge. To cultivate the fire of controlled focus is to learn the rhythm between intensity and restraint. The warrior's path demands not only fierce concentration, but also the wisdom to know when to release it. Too much focus burns the spirit, too little and it flickers out. The samurai found balance through ritual, breath, and repetition. Each swing of the sword a meditation in motion. He understood that true focus is not effort, but alignment, the merging of mind, body, and intention into a single flame that does not waver. When you harness this fire, thoughts cease their noise, because the mind has no room for doubt. Overthinking dies in the furnace of attention, for the heat of presence consumes hesitation. Every task, no matter how small, becomes an act of devotion, a test of your ability to remain centered amidst distraction. In our age of endless noise and fractured attention, the fire of controlled focus is a forgotten discipline. We scatter our energy across 1,000 glowing screens, wondering why our minds feel heavy and uncertain. But the ancient warrior knew the cure: to gather all energy into one purpose and strike with unbroken intent. Focus is the fire that turns potential into mastery. It is not found in intensity alone, but in consistency, the steady flame that never goes out, no matter how cold the night becomes. When your focus is trained, the world's chaos loses its hold. You stop reacting and start creating. Every decision becomes deliberate, every movement purposeful. This is where mastery begins, where the restless mind finds peace in the precision of purpose. To live with the fire of controlled focus is to become the blacksmith of your own destiny. Each day you step into the forge, you decide whether your flame will burn wild or controlled. This fire is both a weapon and a guide. It illuminates your path and reveals your true potential. The samurai did not fear the fire within. He revered it, shaped it, and trusted it to carry him through darkness. When your focus is pure, the noise of overthinking is silenced by the hum of action. You become the embodiment of intent, the living flame that neither flickers nor fades. In this balance of fire and discipline lies freedom. The freedom to move without doubt, to act without hesitation, and to live each moment with the unwavering precision of a warrior whose spirit burns with purpose. There is a strength that lies beyond emotion, beyond desire, beyond fear. A strength forged in stillness and tempered by self-control. This is the discipline of detachment, the silent art of mastering one's inner storms. Musashi knew that attachment is the root of hesitation. The mind clings to outcomes, possessions, or praise, and in that clinging it loses freedom. To detach is not to abandon life, but to engage it with clarity unclouded by need. The disciplined warrior feels everything, but is owned by nothing. He wields emotion as he wields his blade. Deliberately, not reactively. In detachment, one finds perspective. In perspective, one finds mastery. When the heart no longer trembles before success or failure, overthinking dissolves into calm awareness. The warrior moves not for reward, but for purpose. And that is unshakable power. To practice the discipline of detachment is to walk the razor's edge between feeling and control. The samurai faced death daily, not with indifference, but with acceptance. He learned that attachment to life only weakens the spirit, while acceptance strengthens it. In our time, the same truth endures. We cling to opinions, results, and recognition, and in doing so, we bind ourselves to worry and doubt. Detachment is not coldness. It is freedom from dependence, when your worth no longer sways with the opinions of others, when your peace is not stolen by uncertainty. Your mind becomes a clear mirror, reflecting truth without distortion. Musashi's calm in battle came from this understanding. The mind that holds nothing fears nothing. And in that emptiness, perfect awareness is born. The discipline of detachment is a daily practice of release. The warrior rises each morning ready to let go of what was, of what may be, of what he cannot control. He gives his full effort to the moment, then releases the outcome as one releases an arrow into the wind. This surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. When the archer trusts his training, the target reveals itself. Likewise, when the mind releases its grip on results, action becomes effortless and pure. Overthinking fades, for there is nothing left to control. Detachment turns chaos into clarity because it replaces fear with faith in one's discipline. The samurai does not need certainty. His calm is born from readiness. He trusts the process, not the promise. To live by the discipline of detachment is to live as a free soul in a world of noise and grasping hands. It means holding everything lightly, knowing that nothing external defines your inner worth. You are not your failures, nor your victories. You are the still center that observes both without flinching. Detachment allows you to stand firm while others are swept away by emotion or fear. It gives you the courage to walk away from distraction, to let go of control and to act with pure intention. When you detach, the fog of overthinking lifts, revealing a mind that is calm, decisive, and untouchable. The true warrior moves through life as the wind moves through the forest, present, aware, but never bound, and in that freedom, he finds not emptiness, but profound peace. The peace that comes when nothing can shake the discipline of a detached spirit. There is a sacred rhythm that exists beneath all movement, a silent current that carries the warrior beyond thought and into pure action. This is the rhythm of flow, Mushin, the state of no mind. It is where the samurai becomes one with his surroundings, responding not with calculation, but with instinct refined by endless discipline. Musashi described it as the moment when the sword moves by itself, when awareness and action merge without hesitation. In this state, overthinking vanishes completely because there is no separation between the doer and the deed. Flow is not chaos, it is harmony in motion. It is the river that cuts through stone, not by force, but by persistence and grace. To enter Mushin is to transcend fear and control, to act with the quiet confidence that comes from total alignment between spirit, body, and purpose. Training the spirit to move in the rhythm of flow demands surrender, the courage to let go of rigid control and trust in one's preparation. The warrior who seeks flow must first master discipline, for only through structure can one earn freedom. Repetition becomes meditation, and consistency becomes the bridge to instinct. Every swing of the blade, every controlled breath, is a prayer to still the mind until only motion remains. The modern mind, tangled in distraction, seeks to control every outcome. But the warrior knows that mastery comes from release, not resistance. When you act in flow, you stop thinking about what comes next. You become what comes next. The body knows. The spirit guides. Thought follows in silence. In this dance of motion and stillness, the samurai finds peace in action and clarity in chaos. Mushin is not a gift. It is the fruit of endless training and awareness. It is the moment the archer releases the arrow and forgets the target, knowing the shot will find its path. The warrior in Mushin no longer divides his attention. There is no self, no other, no before or after. Only the eternal present unfolding. In this state, fear loses its power because there is no time for it to exist. Overthinking cannot survive in the purity of flow, for there is no space between intention and action. This is why the masters seem effortless. Their movements are not forced but remembered from the body's deep wisdom. They have trained so completely that their actions arise like breath. Natural, unstrained, precise. To reach this level is not to abandon discipline but to become it. To let the rules dissolve into intuition. To live with the rhythm of flow, Mushin, is to dance with life instead of wrestling it. It means allowing your energy to move freely, guided by awareness rather than control. You stop chasing perfection and start embodying it, moment by moment. Flow is not an escape, it is the ultimate presence, the mind fully engaged yet completely free. In this state, overthinking transforms into observation, and every challenge becomes an opportunity for graceful response. So what? The samurai who dwells in flow carries serenity into battle, just as you can carry calm into the storms of modern life. Whether in creation, work, or struggle, when you move in rhythm with life's current, obstacles dissolve into motion. You no longer fight the river, you are the river. This is the essence of movement. The mastery of movement without thought, control without force, and peace found not in stillness alone, but in the perfect balance between effort and ease. Deep within the warrior's heart lies a mirror, a surface so calm, so untouched, that it reflects truth without distortion. This is the mirror of inner silence, the still core from which all clarity arises. When Musashi spoke of knowing one's enemy, he first meant knowing oneself, for only a silent mind can perceive the world as it truly is. The undisciplined mind is a storm, each thought a wave crashing against reason. But when silence is mastered, the waters settle and vision becomes pure. Overthinking is born from noise, the chatter of fear, doubt, and desire. But silence dissolves that noise like mist before the morning sun. The warrior who polishes the mirror of his mind through meditation, reflection, and discipline learns to see without judgment and act without confusion. In silence the heart speaks, and in that voice lies wisdom untouched by emotion. To cultivate the mirror of inner silence is to make peace with stillness itself. The samurai understood that silence is not emptiness, it is awareness untainted by reaction. In the quiet of his dojo, Musashi would meditate before battle, not to seek answers, but to cleanse himself of thought. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of understanding. In this state, the mind becomes transparent. Thoughts may pass, but they leave no mark. Overthinking fades, because silence provides no foothold for it to cling to. The modern warrior, overwhelmed by noise and constant motion, must return to this ancient art. Through stillness, you begin to see the world as it is, not as your fears paint it. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer overthink. You understand. The practice of inner silence is not escape. It is mastery over the self. It demands courage to face the chaos within without running, to listen to the noise until it quiets on its own. The warrior sits with discomfort, with anxiety, with the restlessness of the mind, and through patience transforms them into strength. Silence is the forge of awareness. It burns away illusion and polishes truth until it shines. When your inner mirror is clean, life's challenges become lessons, not threats. You see patterns in chaos, opportunity in struggle, and wisdom in pain. Overthinking cannot exist where silence reigns, for silence does not analyze, it simply knows. The samurai who has mastered silence enters battle already victorious, for his mind is unmoved and his heart unclouded. To live with the mirror of inner silence is to walk through life untouched by noise, yet deeply attuned to all things. You begin to understand that silence is not withdrawal, it is the deepest form of engagement. In this state, every decision becomes deliberate, every action graceful, every word powerful. You no longer seek control, you embody balance. The world may roar around you, but within there is only still water reflecting truth. Overthinking disappears, because the mirror does not judge, it reflects and releases. This is the way of Musashi's spirit, the essence of the warrior's calm, to stand unmoved amid storms, to see clearly when all else trembles, and to let silence reveal what noise has hidden. For when the mirror within you is still, you become unstoppable. Not because you have silenced the world, but because you have learned to listen beyond it. And so, warriors, the path of mastering overthinking is not found in escape, but in transformation. By forging presence into stillness, fire into focus, discipline into detachment, flow into freedom, and silence into strength. Musashi's wisdom was never about control, it was about alignment. Becoming so grounded in the moment that thought and action become one. When the blade of your mind is sharpened by awareness, when your fire burns with direction, when your heart releases all that it clings to, you no longer drown in thought. You move with precision, clarity, and peace. The true warrior does not fight against his mind. He trains it until it becomes an ally, a mirror, a weapon of calm intent. Remember, mastery is not a destination. It is a rhythm you live each day, forged in practice and tested in silence. So stand tall, sharpen your spirit, and walk this path of discipline with honor. Comment "Still Mind" below, subscribe and join this brotherhood of focused souls walking the way of Musashi. For once you master this, overthinking disappears, and what remains is the unshakable stillness of a warrior who has found his peace within the storm.